We have a very good success rate of putting families to their loved ones.
When someone is killed and left for dead for a long time, identifying that person takes work. Richmond County Coroner Mark Bowen tells Cold Case Project he only gets a handful of human remains each year.
If it's a body and it can be fingerprinted, we will fingerprint, which we have our fingerprint scanner.
That's your first step.
That's the first step, to see if we can get a good print.
This electronic device can sometimes identify a victim in just 2 minutes. When it doesn't, the original ink and roll fingerprint comes into play, all being used through AFIS, the Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Teeth can be used too, but only if there's a lead.
We got to have a name to get dental records, and you know, if we don't have anything to go on, then usually it's a dead-end street.
Bowen's final attempt at putting a name to a body is DNA.
We do buccal swabs, swab the mouth, and we package them up and we hand deliver them to the GBI as soon as possible so they can start the DNA process.
Our cameras made it to the GBI and its crime lab we often refer to in murder stories. Ashley Garish introduced us to one unidentified body, which after a medical process becomes bones.
We do have the teeth, we do have some dental work here, that if we have a potential missing person that we want to try to match this to or exclude, we would be able to look at this. We could do an x-ray, we could also look at the teeth in place. If our anthropologist looks at this case, they may be able to use the femur to estimate height. They would be able to look at the pelvis, the skull, different things to try to tell us male or female, approximate age so that we can put that out for a missing person.
Bowen and more than 150 coroners in Georgia send at least 100 unidentified bodies or bones to Garish and her team at the GBI each year. Autopsies are performed, and the medical examiner checks the condition, prints, dental, and surgical history. But more and more now, law enforcement is turning to DNA. And outside of dried up DNA or no family members available, it helps.
We will sometimes get a cold call from a family about a missing person. That information is recorded. We check it against any of our UIDs, our unidentified remains that we currently have, to see if anything matches. And then if we don't, then we'll keep that information around in case any new cases come in. I also always recommend families to go to NAMUS, the National Association of Missing and Unidentified Persons System, to put their missing individuals in there so that it can be constantly searched against unidentified remains.
Cold Case Project reports on missing persons each year, and we know there are many more across the CSRA. We looked in NAMUS. The system has 18 missing people in Richmond County, Georgia. In Aiken County, South Carolina, 8 people. But a new technology emerged in 2018, forensic genetic genealogy. National Institutes of Health reports this investigative tool aids in solving cold cases using advanced DNA and genealogical research.
It provides leads for law enforcement because it can identify family members or just the family name so that they have somewhere to start looking.
The GBI works with Othram, a forensic genetic genealogy lab near Houston, Texas. It was critical in identifying 26-year-old Chong Un Kim back in October, whose body was found in Jenkins County in 1988.
We tested the blanket that had some DNA from her, transferred onto it. We were able to build a DNA profile.
Genealogy also helped law enforcement ID Kim's sister and learned that the family lived in Liberty County, Georgia. While there are several labs across the country using FGG, Othram has solved hundreds of cases, including baby Jane Doe, a 5-year-old murdered in Georgia in 1988.
Our doctors always say we give a voice to those that are no longer living because they can't speak up for themselves.
Anyone still hoping to locate a missing person should add them to NAMUS if they are not already there. What family and law enforcement need to get justice and close the case.